What's up, everybody? It's your boys Jin and Juice back at it again. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the state of the hobby, making a couple announcements, showing off something cool. And yeah, let's get into it. All right, so I just got back from the Midwest Monster.
How was it?
It was actually pretty fun. I was there a day because my entire weekend I was traveling left and right. I did 4 flights in 3 days. Ooh. I went to Indiana for the Midwest Monster on Friday, left super early Friday morning. I woke up the next day at 4 o'clock in the morning to get on a plane to Tampa. And I had to do a connecting flight, so I went from Indianapolis back to Atlanta, from Atlanta to Tampa to do a blackjack tournament with Dude Luck. And then the next day, him and I flew back to Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
So I was all over the world. But when I was at the Midwest Monster, it was my first time being there. It was an awesome show. But within 20 minutes, and I don't want to make it seem like I'm complaining, but within 20 minutes, I was completely sold out.
Okay, well that's pretty sweet.
That is actually really sweet.
Right.
Really sweet, really awesome, and that is awesome. Like, it's a great experience. And then you have a bunch of capital. You could turn around and buy a bunch of cards.
So when you said you sold out, like, was it like one buyer, like a couple buyers? They bought. I'm assuming that you brought a handful of cards.
Yeah, I brought a lot of cards, and I'll put a couple of the videos here. You guys can see what I was moving. All right, we just did a massive deal right here for $2,600 with key cards. Thanks, brother.
Thank you,
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Woo! Some big stuff here. Make sure you guys check them out. Check out their Whatnot if you guys are interested in any of these. I'm sure they're probably going to be popping up there. Phenomenal deal. But I brought a ton of cards, and I did sell it to mostly one buyer, and it's actually a buyer that we sold to before. You sold some cards to them as the key cards people.
Yeah, okay.
So great individuals, amazing individuals. But, you know, when I'm looking at these cards, a lot of these cards, and I believe they're more of selling it on Whatnot. What I've been seeing lately in the hobby is either Repackers or Whatnot buying a lot of the cards.
Interesting.
Now, with the Whatnotters, they want a little bit better of a deal in the sense because, you know, they're selling on Whatnot. You don't know what it's going to sell for.
And then you got the fees and the things you got to take into account.
So you're still working out deals with them, and I'm happy to work with them. They were awesome, and this has nothing to do with them, but more just the state of the hobby of where we're at. So I noticed there's a ton of Whatnotters in the space that are just selling cards on Whatnot, which is crazy to me.
Right.
It's hard for me to believe that there's still a ton of people out there, an audience of focus, buying things on Whatnot, because I personally don't use Whatnot. I maybe used it like 3 years ago one time.
I've used it regularly, and I've noticed some things, like obviously some of the prices for cards are a little bit higher on Whatnot than, let's say, I could find on eBay. I don't know if it's, you know, because the person is showing you the cards, you can ask questions and say, like, hey, how's the condition of the card look? I mean, obviously, if it's graded, you'll know. But when you're selling raw cards, the biggest thing is, like, condition. Obviously, if you're adding it to your collection. So I guess the ability to ask for conditions, their opinions on are there any scratches, imperfections, things like that. I guess maybe that's worth it to pay the little bit extra.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, like, I need to find the facts. Like, the one thing that is difficult about Whatnot is you can't see what cards sell for historically. You can only see what they sell for if you're live in the auction at the moment. And every time I look at cards at the moment, any card that I looked up on eBay, the cards go for a lot more on Whatnot. And I want to know why. Like, I'm trying to uncover that and find out why. Is Whatnot becoming an actual marketplace that is on par with the eBays of the world? Because I remember Whatnot was steadily, like, it was up and down, but now I see, like, Cards HQ, Card Collector 2, every small breaker, every big breaker, every person that's selling cards, it just keeps going up and up and up of these individuals selling on Whatnot. And if it is, maybe, is it crazy to say? Is it time for Juice to get on Whatnot and start selling cards?
Oh.
Because that's what I'm doing, and I've been against Whatnot for a while, but I also have to eat a piece of humble pie and understand, like, even though I have beliefs about Whatnot, if it's becoming a legitimate outlet, I got to be there.
Take advantage of it, yeah.
Like, take advantage of it, be a part of it, whatever you want to say. Like,
maybe it's becoming like the new auction house. Like, it's more interactive. You've got like great personalities behind it, trying to promote cards and things like that. Well, so maybe the people these days now want something more exciting and new.
Sure.
Because like my experiences with seeing some of the mint locations in Japan while I was there is the card shop looks nothing like a typical card shop. Everything's in like beautiful showcases. There's like beautiful lighting. Like really convenient, to get products and things like that. So I think maybe the landscape is changing a bit.
Yeah, and maybe that's the case. I just, when I still see Whatnot, or when I do basic research of Whatnot, their policy of making sure people stay in line with how they run things.
Yeah.
Because you still get individuals that are bad apples.
Mm-hmm.
You still get that on eBay, though.
Yeah.
So it's like, eBay doesn't do a really good job about policing their stuff either. At least Whatnot bans people when they get enough notoriety, like tags and stuff like that. Hey, you should look at this person. But there's been a lot of scammers on Whatnot. But that's not to say that there hasn't been scammers on eBay either. So maybe
eBay, you do run into the issues of people winning auctions and not paying.
Yeah.
Maybe you run into that less at Whatnot, so maybe it's a better place to try to move cards.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let us know in the comments down below if you guys use Whatnot. What have your experiences been? And maybe kind of fill us in as to why maybe you use a Whatnot versus the eBays.
Yeah, I would love to know. I'm growing in this space a little bit more. And later in this video, I'll tell you why. There's also an element of repackers that I still see. Now, we did a video not too long ago where I was in a bunch of backyard break repacks. And it's funny, I thought the video was going to do a little bit better than what it was because I put some real effort into it. But regardless of the fact, it's still there. People can go back and watch it. Where I was in a couple breaks, I even recorded one of their breaks because you can't really see any of their breaks after the fact either.
Right.
So I recorded one of the breaks so you guys could take a look at the cards and just see how much they're selling for and so forth. But I still see like repackers that they're pretty dominant in the card show space as well, buying 90-95%. I don't see anybody buying 100% of comps or over comps. I've heard a couple people say that all repackers are buying 110%. I've never seen that ever. If they are, I would love to meet those individuals because I would love to sell their cards.
Some cards at 110.
Are repacks that enjoying for everybody? Like, because now everybody, if you look at, say, TikTok, and you go through the TikTok breaks, or even on Whatnot, everybody's doing a repack. Every single breaker that is a modern breaker right now has a repack. And if you don't, you probably don't have much views.
That's crazy because, as much as I love to do mystery packs and everything like that while I was in Japan too, it's like I know you're burned 90% of the time. And the fact that even though you know that and you keep doing it, which is, I'll admit I constantly put myself through that torture.
This is a gambling hobby at times.
But it is a true gamble. And I mean, after a while you kind of get burnt too much that you just, kind of just like tell yourself like, no, never again.
Yeah.
But it's just very interesting to see that people still have that mentality. But I guess, I mean, you want to spend $150 and hit that $15,000 card, or something, you want to hit that top ceiling card. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess for the gamblers, but would I recommend it? I wouldn't.
Yeah. But it's crazy to see how dominant they are at the card shows and when it comes to buying. That leads me down to the buying path.
Oh, yeah, right. You sold all your cards, so now here you are wanting to go buy some stuff to add to your PC or to, potentially grade and flip later.
The way the Midwest Monster was set up, I think that was part of the bad experience. I think the Midwest Monster is a great show. The owner's really cool. Met the owner.
Oh, nice.
It's just the way it was set up was just poor, in my opinion, because when you first walked in on the right side, there's this corner. It's like the corner of death. Everybody and their mother was in this corner. from shops. You had Cards HQ, you had Indie Card Exchange, you had Card Collector 2, and you have a bunch of other pretty
so
big
you had
buyers.
really big names.
All within 2 rows.
And congestion.
They were swamped.
Of course.
And then by the time people got over, they're like, oh, we already sold all our cards, or we already did all this. And like the other half of the building where we were at, but crickets almost the entire time. So like, one, if you're trying to buy at that show, buying at card shows, I didn't realize it was all about placement. If you're set up, if you're not in a good spot, you're going to miss out on so much good inventory. That corner of death was huge for people buying. Now, with that said, once they got past that, buying was terrible. And that's where my experience was. I had a terrible experience with trying to buy cards. And then I decided to go to the other tables that didn't have much traffic, because I was like, all right, look, these guys haven't been moving a lot of cards. Maybe I could buy some of their cards, and looking at their raw cards and deals and guess like that. Those people were not willing to move off of anything. They were well above comps, and I posted a short where there was base cards that were listed for $165 of Anthony Edwards base select concourse rookie cards.
And that's when they were still.
That's like a $5 card.
Yeah, they were in the playoffs. Yeah, but I mean, it's just because of that doesn't exponentially increase it that much.
Right, which was crazy to see. And granted, that was an extreme example, but a lot of these individuals, and I get it. Everybody says, there's a handful of you all that don't care about comps. You want to sell your cards for what you want to sell them for. More power to you. I say yes. Well, by all means, but there is at some point a line in the sand where if you're going to be at a card show selling your cards, again, you can list. I get it. You can list what you want, but for the sake of just sanity, why on earth would you go to a card show, spend money to set up a booth,
and be like super firm on price that you're not willing to make any kind of money?
You're one of those people that just want to see the world burn. Like, sell your cars wherever you want to, like on eBay and stuff, but why on earth would you pay for a show? And I get it. Again, I'm all for doing whatever you want. I'm a big advocate of that. But don't sit there and think that I can't have an opinion about it. And I know a lot of people are going to leave their comments and have opinions about it. It's fine. But in my opinion, that is absolutely ridiculous.
But do you think that maybe that they're so underwater on these cards that like they have to sell it at that price in order to
there's a ton of people that are afraid to lose money.
Right.
Ton. Shit happens, buddy. Like it's better to get rid of the cards than hold on to them and think they're going to go back up to 2020 to 2021 prices, because that ain't going to happen. I mean, all the people out there that, if you watch, that has been in the hobby for years upon years, whether you like their opinions or not, those people have said to date that these cards are going to crash. They're not going to be where they're at. There are going to be some cards that hold value, but you're going to see a lot of cards fluctuate, and it's going to be more of a roller coaster down than a roller coaster up. There's going to be a lot of rarities where the cards skyrocket back up to where they used to be, especially with those Anthony Edwards cards.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen my LeBrons like take huge hits, and I'm sure they'll go back up. But I mean, obviously, the ride up is now going to be a lot slower than during the 2021.
You're going to have to wait another 10 to 15 years when there's another sports card boom to probably potentially sell like those massive LeBrons, which those are what those guys did. I remember Seablez famously. There's like a video of him. He did an interview where he phrased it as, "I made my first million selling Luka Doncic cards." And I guess he bought up Luka Doncic before the hobby exploded. He bought them up for like hobby boxes at the time for Luka rookies for Prism was like $200.
Yeah.
He was buying up a ton of Luka cards, ended up grading them all. They all got like 10s and stuff, and he ended up selling them during the boom, and he made well over $1 million.
That's crazy.
Kudos to him. If you hold on to sports cards, they're looking like those blue chip stocks. Certain players, you're going to have to take the ride, but if you hold on long enough, buy them at a good point, you're more than likely going to make money on them. That's going to be your GOATs, your vintage cards, and so forth.
So then, do you feel like because of all the whatnot buyers and then the repack buyers, like people know that they're willing to pay kind of like close to the sticker price that these sellers have on their cards? Do you feel like because of that, a lot of sellers are kind of being a little bit more firm and not willing to negotiate because they're just hoping that maybe, like a repacker or whatnot, or comes by and like says, "Hey, I want your whole booth or your whole showcase. Let's talk about numbers."
Yeah, I definitely think that is a chance and a hope out of a lot of these individuals. But sometimes they're unwilling to even move. I know there was a point where this guy was having a bunch of Jordans and stuff like that, and I won't say the YouTuber that went up to him, but I got to witness it where this YouTuber went up to this guy. He's like, "Hey, are you willing to move up this price?" He's like, "I don't care about your YouTube channel. I don't care about your price. I'm not moving my prices." It's funny to hear that stuff, but again, at the same exact time, if you're at the thought process of a card show is to sell cards,
right?
And it's like the art of the deal at times. I'm all for you pricing your cards at what you want on the price. But again, if you're coming to the card show, that's the opinion. That's the idea. All right, you're here to sell.
Right, and you set yourself up with some wiggle room that like, all right, I priced it at $800, but it's last comps and stuff, and if someone's willing to offer me like $600, I can move on that. Like, it's okay. Yeah.
Now we're getting to the later half here where I said we got a couple announcements, things like that. I will say this: you're going to see a lot more long form content coming from us. We both took some pretty big steps recently. Andrew no longer does his side of work. I no longer do my main job.
So we are
anymore.
Brokies.
We are. I wouldn't say brokies. Still make money. It's just we're no longer doing our day to day, which was something that we were doing for years.
Obviously. We had talked about kind of being able to do like the sports card and the YouTube and all of that more full time.
Yeah.
And we just kind of. I guess it happened a little bit sooner than maybe we were expecting in terms of like where like taking this like big leap.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we but the timing was kind of good because something really good happened, and it's kind of like that point we had always talked about. So
yeah,
it's a good jump off point.
Yeah. So we made that jump. We also have a ton of other little items that we're working on. Don't know if you guys know, but we created a free app called Collector with a group of individuals. And we have ownership in that. Collector is an app where you can track all your TCG cards. We are working on sports. It's a constant conversation.
Yeah, we have a big potential to bring in a wide variety of sports all at once. So it's still in the works, but we're hoping to be able to come to a deal. And then, hey, you'll get sports in there too.
And it's a free app. You don't have to pay for this app.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay for the data that already exists. We already organize it for you and so forth. If you guys have any TCG cards, check out Collector. Link down in the description. We've already surpassed 1 million users.
Yeah. Wow.
Insane. We also are now, I guess, somewhat owners of a grading service. And it's not really a grading company. It is a group submitter called GA Grading, where Andrew and I put some money in. So anytime you guys hear us talk about GA Grading, we are partial owners of that, which is really cool. Shout out to Garrett and Adam, G and Adam over in Louisville. They're really cool guys. They spearhead it.
A lot of the recent cards that we've actually had graded, they've touched, and all your big Wimbies that got tens have been gone through GA grading. So
no Kurt's Card Care. None whatsoever. It's a joke, guys. It's a joke. Okay? Don't come for me in the comments.
Right.
But we've been doing big things there, so you're going to be seeing a lot more of that. We trust them, obviously, if we put our own hard-earned money into that.
And pretty much our name behind it, too, because, we've built up our brand, and, we haven't really worked with anybody particularly, just because we want people who have the similar mindset and are in line with our work ethics and everything. So it's a big step for us to put our names behind something like this. And so
you guys check the channel left and right. We rarely, if all, promote anybody. And to Andrew's point, we're putting our name behind it. But like, it's got to be companies that we actually have a say in. Mm-hmm. If we didn't have a say, it's a lot more harder to put our name behind something. Right. And this is like the perfect opportunity. So again, you guys are going to hear more of that. But yeah, a lot of big things coming. We're selling cards We're going to have a TCG player account. I got a CompC account. We got eBay. All the links are below. Make sure you guys follow our social media channels. And then we wanted to share this with you guys.
Woo!
We got our plaque, first plaque ever.
Our play button.
And yeah, here we go. I'm going to, if you want to do the honors of holding that up, I'm going to go ahead and cut this.
It came a lot faster than I thought it was.
Yeah.
Gonna come.
And then you decided to take a sabbatical.
Yeah, for a month sabbatical.
In 2 different Asian countries.
Well, who knew that it would come that quickly, right?
Here we go. Okay. And
Woohoo!
do you remember your first subscriber? Your first 100 or your first 1,000? Wow. Signed letter. Nice little card here. And ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Bang! Lootbox TV passing 100,000 subscribers. This is going to be in the back of all our videos, right between Jen and I. Wow, this is amazing. Wow, we did it, buddy. We did it. So cool.
Silver play button.
That is sick. That is sick, everybody. Wow.
You know, we really couldn't have done this without all of the supporters who followed us from our Pokemon days to our sports days to, you know, the past just several years of just constantly supporting us and, you know, watching all of our videos, leaving comments, the good and the bad, and we love it. Cool. So, yeah, we wouldn't be here at this milestone without you guys. We hope to eventually add the gold and the diamond play button to our collection.
Our repertoire.
Our repertoire, yeah, hanging up back there. So, you know, thanks again from the bottom of our hearts to all of the support you guys showed us and continue to show for us.
Yeah, 100%. Jen nailed it right there. Yeah, thank you guys so much. You all are amazing. Truly appreciate it. Time is the most important thing you can give somebody in the world, and for you guys to give us your time, it means everything. So thank you, and we'll talk to you later.
Deuces.